Welcome to Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions to better health and wellness through intentional living. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Welcome back to my channel, listening to my podcast. I thank you so much. Today I want to talk to you about food, right? I know last week I talked about clean eating. Today I want to talk to you about something that's important, and that is, can our food be making us sick? Is the food you have in your cabinet, could it possibly be making you sick? Okay, but before we get into that, go ahead and hit that like button, share, and subscribe. And of course, I have a quote for you today. And that quote is, "Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food," by Hippocrates. Right now, from what my understanding is that they revised the Hippocratic Oath. I haven't looked into it and done any extensive research on it because it's not that important. Even if they did change it, right? They're saying it's due to changes in medicine, things of that nature, right? But we know that there are more medicine. Big pharma is more of the way of people can mask symptoms, not heal disease, but mask symptoms, right? So that's what I want to talk to you about. You know, could the food that's in our cabinets, in our pantry, make us sick? Have you read your labels lately? Have you read your labels lately? Have you looked at the ingredients? How many of you honestly look at their ingredients when you go shopping? Right? You can be totally honest, no judgment, right? Sometimes I forget, right? I'm looking for organic, things like that. I'm looking for organic, non-GMO, right? But even with some of these things, if you're not really pulling it out of the ground or taking it directly from the tree or going out and getting your food from the backyard, your chickens or whatever, and getting it fresh from your backyard, you really don't know what has been done to your food. I mean, it's quite honest, right? I'm just being totally honest. You really don't know what's been done to your food, how it's processed, its living environment before it's slaughtered, right? So we really don't know. But things began to change really at the time around the period of World War II, somewhere around there after World War II, something like that. Um, and it's not like before. It's not like before how it was back in the days where we grew our own food and raised our own animals, right? So we knew exactly where our food was coming from. But now with so many different ingredients being added to the food to give more flavor, to give more texture, to make it last longer, right? And you know that they're altering foods, right? Modifying foods for making these things last longer, right? You can get modified tomatoes, right? How many times have you sat a tomato in either in your refrigerator or your countertop and it's been sitting there and it's still good? We all know that fresh tomatoes, within a week or so, it's going to start to go bad. Within a week or close to 2 weeks, it's going to start to go bad. If it's totally fresh, naturally grown, it's not going to last long. And that's just how it is. It's or fresh, it's organic, and that's just how it is, right? But nowadays, what is in our food? What exactly is in our food? And can these things be making us sick? Well, the answer is yes. Okay. The answer is yes. And I talked about in one of my previous episodes on hormone disruptors, right? Certain dyes, certain food ingredients, different types of food dyes, different types of ingredients can disrupt the hormones, right? I talked about those things before. And BPA, right, was one of those, right? And that's what you find in the canned foods. Now, you will see some canned products that say no BPA, right? You will see that for some, right? And that stands for, forget it. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, okay? BPA, all right? So, but there's different things, right? Even our cell phones, right? So we shouldn't be sleeping with it under our pillows. It shouldn't be near us at night when we sleep. You kind of want to have it away from because it still gives off radiation, no matter how small. We shouldn't be wearing it in our pockets. And I remember I used to wear, and when I did security, I used to have always carry it in this front pocket here. And I wonder, is this where I got this little here? It's like a little lump. It's nothing serious. It's just a little thing here, but it doesn't bother me. I had it checked out. Everything is fine. So I've just left it alone. But I had to I had to play back in my head. I had to play back in my memory bank. What did I do? What things could I have been doing to make this occur? Here, it's not even in the breast area itself. So I thought about that where I always wore my kept my phone in my pocket here in the left pocket because the pocket was always made on the left side. But I say all of this to say, right, that we need to make sure that we are reading these labels, right? We are reading these labels. And I want to go over some of the food products. Even though I talked about this before, I want to go over some of the food products that can potentially make you sick. Now, you already know about preservatives, right? You know about nitrates in your processed meats, your deli meats, right? If you're going to buy your deli meats, you want to ask for the ones without nitrates, okay? No nitrates. You don't want those. Well, what are nitrates, right? So nitrates is something that they apply to the meats to prevent it from, of course, it's a chemical, and they use it to prevent bacterial growth. All right. And it has a distinctive color as well as flavor. All right. So, but the downside of nitrates is that they convert to nitrites. All right. And when they interact with protein, it creates a compound called nitrosamines. All right. And this can cause cancer. All right. So these deli meats that contains nitrates can cause cancer. And so this is why you should be avoiding deli meats, okay, that contain nitrates. All right. So if you eat meat, I'd say, and I personally don't eat any deli meats. Okay. So if you're going to eat meat, you want to avoid those added preservative and processed meats, those in the can, all right, and as well as those the deli meats that you find at your supermarket. All right, and so that's just one of them. Now, red meat, okay? There's been numerous studies, and I talked to you about this before. There's been studies on this, and I talked about this last week about studies showing that they are linked to cancer. Okay. Uh, Now, I know for some of you, it may be hard to give up red meat, right? It may be hard to give up red meat. But when you think about your health and you ask yourself, how often are you eating red meat? How often are you eating processed meats? How often are you eating deli meats? How often are you eating these foods? You have to really be honest with yourself here and ask yourself, am I eating too much? Do I need to cut back? All right. Do I need to cut back? Maybe you can, and if you want to save money, hey, we know beef is expensive, right? Beef is expensive. So if you want to save money, hey, cut back. Eat red meat maybe once every 2 weeks, okay? Once a month, once or twice a month. Cut back on it. All right. And because there are studies, you don't have to listen to me, right? There's actually studies on it that shows that it is linked to cancer. Okay. And so remember, you got to remember what these animals eat. Is it grass fed, right? Is the beef, are the cows being grass fed? Okay. What are they eating? What's their confinement? Where are they housed, right? And I want to recommend this documentary to you. And I just watched it last night. And again, it's putting me back to that, like, I don't even want to eat chicken anymore. So I know I can do it. I know I can do anything that I want to do once I put my mind to it. So me even letting go of chicken would not be as difficult because I've done it before. And so the thing is, I want to get back to that is the thing is you have to think about where these animals and how they are raised, where they are housed, how they are housed. Um, and they're exposed to a lot of bacteria and illness and disease, and they're not housed in sanitary conditions at all. And did you know that the FDA allows certain bacteria on our packaged meat with salmonella and E. coli with chicken? It's unbelievable, right? Um, and that's why, we wash our meats, right? That's why we're supposed to wash our meats. We're supposed to wash it in some vinegar or let it sit for a while so kill some of that bacteria, even before you cook it, right? Even before you cook it, wash your meats. All right. So now I was talking about the beef, right? And how they are raised and things like that. Remember also what they're fed, as well as the chickens, right? As well as poultry. I'll just say poultry, what they are fed. Okay. So if they're not fed natural grains, natural things of the natural things that they eat as they would if they were out in someone's natural backyard or whatever, or natural area of living, these cows are fed genetically modified corn, genetically modified soy, all of these things to fatten them up. They're given antibiotics, even though it's low dose antibiotics. But what this does is make them more resistant. It makes the body more resistant. So that's not a good thing. All right. Now, some will say, you hear some will poultry makers or manufacturers will say that they don't give their animals any antibiotics at all. Okay. If that is so the case, then fine. All that I'm saying is that we just need to be more mindful. We need to make conscious decisions in our food choices, right? Because you already know that food can make you sick. And if you didn't know, I'm telling you now, yes, certain foods you eat can make you sick. Okay. And even if I'm eating something, right? Even if I'm eating something, and it's like when you go to restaurants, you're not aware of everything and where they get their food. You don't know that, right? When you go out to eat. But even if you go out to eat, you may notice something, right? Whether it's some type of, or if you even purchase something from a store, right? If something may contain an ingredient that you are not used to eating, because what happens, your body will form some type of allergic reaction, right? Some type of allergic reaction. I had also someone say to me that they immediately know when something has had pork in it or contains pork, right? Because they begin to have like pimples or breakout, or their stomach feels queasy or something like that. And the person told me, well, they ate a sausage, they ate a beef sausage. I asked them, but do you know what the casing of the sausage is made from? They don't tell you. When you go to these gas stations, all right, unless you're buying it from the supermarket, it doesn't tell you the type of casing. It can be pork casing.
If you are struggling with health issues like chronic pain, being held back by past traumas, or feeling overwhelmed and hopeless, please know there is hope. There is help. Transcendence, a woman's guide to healing and self-love for better health, happiness, and abundance, is a blueprint to help you get your life back and reclaim your health. Within its pages, you'll learn how to elevate your existence by shifting your mindset toward the positive, focusing your energy on what's really important, using gratitude to feel deep appreciation, changing your gene expression through epigenetics, building resilience, and living in a state of flow, feeling love overflow within. Go beyond an ordinary life. Transcend. Buy it now.
Right? And usually, most of the time, and I've seen it in plenty of supermarkets, right? The package of the sausage, right? When you read the ingredients, it'll say pork casing. Now it's 100% beef, right? Inside the whole sausage is beef. But the casing, that lining, when you to keep the meat together, that lining around it, it's lined with pork casing. So this is what I'm saying, you have to read your ingredients, okay? Some will say beef casing or bovine, right? Bovine is another term for beef, right? So read those labels, okay? So another type of toxin is dioxins, right? So what are dioxins? They're actually present in herbicides and pesticides. And they are in industrial products. Now, all of this is from what I talked about before on endocrine and disruptors, right? But they can also be found in feminine products such as tampons and sanitary napkins, right? Which are bleached for the products, right? They're bleached and then which makes them white. So these dioxins are definitely toxic. All right. And so there's phthalates, there's atrazine, there is PFCs. And what I'm doing now is just pulling up from when I did my last one, I have notes here. So there's PCBs, there's parabens, right? There's triclosan, which is an antimicrobial. Look for the one on what I did on endocrine disruptors. There's so many, right? There's polybrominated diphenyl ethers, right? So it's used as a flame retardant on furniture and electronics, stuff like that. But it can be neurotoxic, right? It can be neurotoxic, and it has an impact on the liver and thyroid function, all right? And also causes increased risk of certain cancers. So we're surrounded by chemicals all the time, right? Whether we look at it, whether we realize it or not, even in our home with our aerosol sprays, if we use aerosol sprays, air fresheners, okay? There's so many cleaning products, our detergents, right? Our fabric softener, just so many, even the air we breathe, right? And so what are parabens? Parabens are preservatives in makeup and personal care products, and also in pharmaceuticals. But they can mimic hormones, are used to lead to hormonal disturbances, as well as reproductive issues, right? And it can cause allergic reactions. Also, MSG, right? What about MSG? MSG is another one. So let me talk about MSG, right? Monosodium glutamate. All right, where can we find this? We can find MSG in a lot of foods, right? And those ramen noodles that you love, okay? Those oodles and noodles, MSG. On some Chinese foods, some claim that they don't use MSG, okay? But we really don't know that for sure. All right. So what are some of the reactions that you can have from MSG? Headaches, flushing, sweating, fresh face pressure or tightness, quick fluttering heartbeats, lack of feeling, numbness, tingling, burning in the face, neck, and other areas, chest pain, and feeling sick, nausea. All right. And that's just some to name a few. So what can MSG do? All right, it has been linked with obesity, metabolic disorders, Chinese restaurant syndrome. I didn't even know that was a term until just now, Chinese restaurant syndrome. So I'm assuming that must mean you're eating too much of it. Okay, so I don't know. You can Google that one. I'm not going to go into much on that. Neurotoxic effects and detrimental effects on reproductive organs. Now, how serious is that? How serious is that? And you may be wondering why you have fertility issues, right? Could it be the reason for your fertility issues? Could it be the cause or reason for those headaches? Let's pay attention, guys. Let's pay attention and read those labels, okay? Pay attention and read those labels. So when you're feeling a certain way, always ask yourself, what did I eat? Always ask yourself, what did I eat? Okay? I automatically know when I've eaten something that contains too much omega-6s. All right? I know right away if I've eaten something that I probably wasn't aware of had too much, some type of omega-6 or some type of inflammatory response. Okay. And because what will happen for me is knee pain, right? Particularly in the left knee. So I automatically know. All right. So we have to pay attention. All right. We got to pay attention. That was just to name some of the few. But there's so many things. So again, there are foods that can make you sick. There's some foods that's actually linked to depression, right? Depression and ADHD in children, right? Refined cereal grains, soft drinks, right? Such as pop, soda, okay? Hydrogenated fats, right? Those hydrogenated oils that we use, if you're using them, right? Stop using them. They are showing to have an increased risk of ADHD by 92%, okay? While the junk food pattern, it says here on the NCBI nh.gov website is showing here. It's showing that it's characterized by high consumption of processed foods, which with high amounts of artificial food coloring and food preservatives, right? Red dye number 40, okay? Red dye number 40, that's another one linked to ADHD, right? Guys, you have got to, if you really haven't really began to really take a look and focus on your health, you may want to try doing that now for 2024 if you're ready. You know, the choice is yours ultimately. But you definitely want to do that. Again, I talked about people in the nursing homes under 50 years old, under 65 being in a nursing home, right? It's showing increase. Still a small amount overall, but it's still showing an increase. All right, gradual increase of people being in the nursing homes, 20 years old, 30 years old, 35 years old, 38 years old, obese or gunshot wound, right? Totally incapable of doing anything for themselves. Right now, I know that's not food related, that's something different. But those who are bariatric status, over 500, 600 pounds because they can't walk on their own, or diabetic, having a leg amputated at 36 years old, 35 years old, where you have to be hoyered out of the bed, where you have to have a machine to actually put you on the Hoyer pad to get you up out of bed. This is ridiculous. We have got to change the way we look at food, okay? And all those commercials telling you, oh, this is good for you and this is good for you. Do your own research. Remember, those ads that we see, the shows that we watch, they get paid, right? By advertisers, right? And these advertisers, what do they want to do? They want to sell their products, right? They want to sell their products. So they're going to tell you a whole bunch of stuff is good for you that's not. All you got to do, we are in a world of information. So Google it, right? And I'm not saying depend on Google as your primary source of information. No, look at documentaries, read books. You have so many healthcare professionals, scientists, nurses, doctors, health practitioners. They're writing books and they're giving you the information, just like in my book, giving you information, right? Giving you information on things that you won't hear all the time. Or you will see people on YouTube talking about things that you will, all of it, or even on YouTube, right? They're talking to you and bringing the truth on certain things that we thought was true all along. We find out now the real truth. about certain things and foods and things like that, among other things. You got to wake up. We have got to wake up. So this is why I wanted to talk to you about, like, is your food making you sick? Possibly. Possibly. It is possible, right? Diabetes, right? Type 2 diabetes. And this is why I want to stress watching this documentary. What You Eat Matters. I believe that is what it's called. It's on Netflix. What You Eat Matters, or You Are What You Eat. I want to make sure I'm giving you the right name. You Are What You Eat. So I'm looking at it here. It's a few episodes, maybe about 3 or 4 episodes. And I'll just tell you a little bit on this one. And his name is Eric Adams. He's actually the mayor of New York City. And I remember when I lived in New York, he was actually the president for the police association at that time when I lived in New York. And I was so surprised to see him on there. He told his story of what was happening to him. I don't want to give it all away, but he told his story and what happened and what led him to want to go to the doctor to see what was going on, because he was having vision problems. But they told him he had an ulcer, and also he was a type 2 diabetic, and they would have to put him on medication, right? And he said, this is not going to be my story. This is not going to be my story. And I'll just leave it at that. But to just tell you a little bit, he didn't take any of those medications. He didn't listen to what the doctors was telling him, because they're only taught certain things, right? They're only taught to mask symptoms. They're not taught to really treat disease, right? So you can't fault and blame doctors, but I really want you to watch that documentary. Okay, You Are What You Eat. I want you to watch that documentary. And you are going to learn a whole lot about food in the industry. Okay. And this is not to get you to side one way or the other, to be vegan, to be vegetarian, or anything like that. You know, I myself am not vegan, although I may be considerate. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Right. So I don't know. But for me, becoming a vegetarian again, I can do that. So it's not hard. For me, it's not hard. But I just wanted to really just share that, because it is just so disheartening to see people who could have such a beautiful life, to have a life where you can get out and go out and just take a walk in the park, and you're not able to do that, right? Because you're confined to a bed. It's really disheartening. It's really disheartening to see people on medications for things, on illnesses and disease that can be reversed, right? That can be reversed. How? By doing what? Just changing the way you eat. Changing the way you eat. And this is why I'm so grateful. Um, I don't have high blood pressure. I'm not a diabetic. I could be in better shape, right? But for the most part, I am healthy. I'm healthy. I don't have any serious health issues, and I'm grateful for that. And you know, I spoke to you about this before, about me having the low vitamin D deficiency. So I'm always making sure that I'm, staying on top of that. And just making sure whenever I can, get in the sun, get my 15 minutes in the sun daily when I can, and doing the right things to take care of myself so I can stay healthy, right? Um, but again, I don't want anyone to be so hard on themselves on what they're not doing right. I want you to focus on the things that you are doing right? Because every little step in progress matters, right? To get to the finish line. It doesn't matter when you come in, right? As long as you get that to that finish line. You're not in a competition with anyone, okay? But with yourself. So do your due diligence, be mindful, pay attention to your body, tune into your body, right? I always tell you, tune into to your body and pay attention to the signs. All right, that's all I have for you for now. I will see you next week. Bye for now. Ladies, do you find yourself caught in the daily grind, juggling between the demands of your career and personal life? Do you dream of thriving both professionally and personally in 2024, but feel overwhelmed by the constant struggle? I understand the challenges you face, and that's why I'm thrilled to invite you to join the 5-day Radiant Soul Challenge. Picture this, a life where you have the secrets to not only survive, but thrive in both your career and personal space. The Radiant Soul Challenge is designed for women just like you, ready to break free from the chains of stress and achieve optimal health. Here's why you should be a part of this exclusive experience. Learn the secrets to thrive both professionally and personally in 2024. Discover actionable insights that will propel you towards success in your career while maintaining a fulfilling personal life. Create more work-life balance for better optimal health. Uncover strategies to strike the perfect balance between your personal aspirations and your well-being, ensuring that you're at the top of your game without sacrificing your health. Implement proven strategies for stress management and productivity skills. Say goodbye to stress overload. Acquire practical techniques that boost your productivity and keep stress at bay, empowering you to excel in your career with ease. Don't miss this chance to embark on a soulful journey. Join the 5-day Radiant Soul Challenge and redefine your path to success. Click the link below and secure your spot in the 5-day Radiant Soul Challenge now. Your thriving future awaits. Hope to see you there.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Health Coach for Women with Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.